He is Rydius, born to be a perv. When he was 2 years old, he stole the maid's panties. At the age of 4, he piqued the teacher when she was changing clothes. And when he turned 6, he began to eavesdrop on his parents' intimate nights. Perhaps because he was still little, his family thought he just liked to play pranks. When he grows up, he unexpectedly shows a super magic talent, attracting countless beautiful girls. He thus has enough opportunities to get close to girls. Why can he be so powerful but perverted? Let's figure it out in this video. Rydius had an awful past life, and he was often abused during his student years, causing him to never go out again and stay at home until he was 40. He even didn't attend his parents' funeral. Rydius' brothers were enraged by his behavior and threw him out of their home. As Rydius lamented his failing life on the road, he noticed that several high school students were about to suffer misfortune. He didn't have time to think about it and sacrificed himself to save them. When Rydius wakes up again, a sexy woman is by his side. He unconsciously stretches out his hands, only to notice that he has become a baby. Rydius lives for a while and realizes that he has been reincarnated and that the place he is in is a magical world. The woman is his mother, Zenith, a magician. No matter what injury Rydius has, she gently chants a spell to heal him. And his father, Paul, is a powerful swordsman. As he grows up, he gradually understands the words of this world. He learns magic using the magic book at home, which says that he must chant a spell before using magic, but he never needs to chant it to release magic. Rydius realizes that he has an extremely rare talent. Rydius is worried that he will be treated as a monster if he uses magic at a young age, and always practices magic secretly. After spending a long time mastering some basic magics, he begins to learn more difficult magics. He tries to create a giant water ball. The water ball instantly destroys the wall and rushes into the sky, leaving a rainbow in the sky. This accident leads the whole family to learn the secret of his magic. Zenith is amazed by Rydius' talent and hires Roxy, a magic teacher, to teach Rydius. Roxy, a young girl with purple hair, plans to test Rydius' talent before deciding whether to take the job. Roxy chants a spell and releases a water ball that smashes a tree in the yard in one fell swoop. Rydius, on the other hand, can easily imitate her magic without even chanting a spell. This surprises her. Roxy, who has been hailed as a talented girl since she was a child, marvels that her talents are not as good as Rydius, a 4-year-old boy, and falls into a state of depression. Fortunately, Rydius thoughtfully comforts her and consoles her. It is the first time Rydius has spoken to a stranger since his reincarnation. From then on, Roxy becomes Rydius' teacher and lives in his house. The Rydius family prepares a sumptuous dinner to welcome Roxy. Rydius feels the warm atmosphere at the table and is very emotional. He has a happy family and a gentle teacher. Rydius is determined that he will live well in his life. Roxy is pleased with Rydius' talent since it allows the rest of the teaching to go very smoothly. She not only teaches Rydius magic but also tells him a lot about another world. In addition to humans, there are races such as elves and demons in another world. Roxy is a member of the demon clan. Some of the demon races have green hair, and they have killed various races and have been exiled from this continent. Roxy warns Rydius to run away as soon as he sees someone with green hair and a ruby on the head. Rydius doesn't give too much importance because he thinks that there is no such race on this continent. Fast forward a year. Today is Rydius' 5-year-old birthday. Roxy presents Rydius with a magic wand and tells him that tomorrow she will test his learning in the countryside. Rydius was often humiliated by his classmates in his previous life, and he is still afraid of passers-by looking at him, thinking that everyone is laughing at him, so he is afraid to go out. When Roxy tries to take Rydius on a horse, he resists but it doesn't work, so he closes his eyes nervously. Moments later, he hears passers-by greeting Roxy, and no one pays extra attention to him at all. He realizes that he will no longer be abused in this life, and he can start a new life in this world. After they arrive in the suburbs, Roxy casts an extremely powerful magic. Suddenly, the entire sky is covered with dark clouds, and thunderstorms suddenly fall. This is the first time Rydius has seen the terrifying power of magic. After Roxy terminates her magic, Rydius tries to imitate her chanting spells and wield his wand, creating an even more violent thunderstorm. Roxy laments that Rydius has grown into a magician even better than her, and it is time for her to leave. She leaves Rydius with an amulet to bid him and his family farewell. Rydius is sad. He has fallen in love with Roxy for a year, but he can't find any reason to keep her and can only watch her leave. On this day, while wandering outside, Rydius notices that several children are doing bad things to a kid named Sylphiette. He chases the children away with water balls and cleans the dirt on the kid's head. He notices that Sylphiette has green hair, and it seems that Sylphiette has been abused by being mistaken for a terrifying demon. It's Sylphiette's first time to meet a peer who does not discriminate against her, and she soon befriends Rydius. Since then, they have often played together, and Rydius has also taught Sylphiette to use magic. Sylphiette is a gifted girl who learns magic quickly, but her level of magic is far worse than that of Rydius. Suddenly it's raining, and Rydius hurries to take Sylphiette to his house to change clothes. Rydius has always thought Sylphiette is a boy, so a bad misunderstanding ensues. He notices Sylphiette's delay in undressing in the shower and forcibly takes off her clothes. Sylphiette cries, attracting Paul's attention, and Rydius on the side is completely confused. After Paul understands the whole story, he suggests that Rydius apologize to Sylphiette. Rydius guiltily tells Sylphiette that he has always treated her like a boy. Sylphiette cries even harder. Paul reluctantly instructs Rydius on how to apologize to a girl, and Rydius obtains Sylphiette's understanding. In the cold winter, something happens to this cozy family. Zenith is pregnant, which would have been a happy thing until she discovers that the maid is also pregnant with Paul's child. Zenith's excitement disappears instantly, and she loses her temper at home. The maid is very guilty and offers to return to her hometown to give birth. Zenith knows that it has been extremely cold outside lately, and she is afraid that the maid would die in a blizzard before returning home. This makes the kind Zenith very struggled. Rydius lies to save the maid's life, saying that he has seen Paul force the maid to sleep together. Children's words are always more trustworthy than adults' arguments. Zenith spares the maid out of sympathy and takes out all her anger on Paul. In fact, it is the maid who hits on Paul. Paul and the maid have since realized that Rydius is much more mature than the other children. 2 years later, Rydius receives a letter from Roxy learning that she has studied various magical knowledge during this time, and her magic level has greatly improved. Rydius's competitive spirit is piqued by the letter, and the difficulty in wanting to go to the Academy of Magic with Sylphiette is that Sylphiette's family situation is complicated and she cannot afford the tuition. The Rydius family can't afford 2 tuitions either. To achieve his goal, Rydius asks Paul to help him find a job. Although Rydius is only 7 years old now, Paul believes that Rydius is fully capable of independence and accedes to Rydius' request. Paul calls his friend Ghislaine, an orc, to help Rydius introduce jobs. Her dress is so sexy that Rydius gets a little excited. Suddenly, he is knocked unconscious by Paul. When Rydius wakes up, he finds himself in Ghislaine's carriage. Paul leaves a letter explaining everything. Paul arranges for Rydius to teach the mayor's daughter, Eris, for 5 years. He fears that Rydius does not want to be separated from Sylphiette, and does not want Sylphiette to live alone with the lecherous Rydius either, so he can only knock Rydius unconscious and send Rydius away. Ghislaine is actually Paul's lover, known as Sword King. She is responsible for teaching Eris about swordsmanship, and she will be responsible for keeping Rydius safe in the coming days. Rydius is helpless but can only accept the arrangement and follows Ghislaine to the destination. Mayor is a gentle person. Paul's cousin, his daughter, Eris, is 9 years old and is feisty, and no teacher has ever been able to make her obedient. The mayor has no expectations for Rydius, who is younger than Eris, and believes he will soon give up the job. The first time Rydius meets Eris, he tastes the girl's domineering. She slaps Rydius simply because she doesn't recognize someone younger than her as her teacher. Rydius shoots back without showing any weakness, only to be attacked even more frantically by Eris. He realizes she is mad and runs away. Rydius understands that punishing Eris with magic will only lead to more ferocious retaliation, and he has to think of something else. He proposes to the mayor to plan a fake kidnapping to scare Eris, which is supported by the mayor. The mayor arranges for a servant to assist Rydius in his work. Seeing that it is already dark outside, Rydius goes back to his room to sleep. He wakes up to find he and Eris are tied up in a warehouse. He can't help but lament the mayor's execution. He uses magic to burn his rope and regains his mobility. Eris yells at him to help her untie her, attracting the attention of the gangster's bald man. The bald man violently beats Eris and leaves. Rydius doesn't expect the mayor to be so ruthless, and he only uses magic to heal part of Eris's injuries to prevent her from shouting when she is recovered. He breaks the bars and prepares to escape. Eris asks him for help. He takes the opportunity to ask Eris to stop shouting and not be violent from now on. At this time, Eris notices the voice of a bald man outside the door, worrying about being injured again, and agrees to this condition. When Rydius escapes from the warehouse with Eris, she immediately repents. Eris speaks louder, but she is noticeably less arrogant than she used to be. When they approach the mayor's house, they meet the mayor's servant and think they are out of danger. Unexpectedly, 2 gangsters suddenly appear and capture Eris. In fact, the servant and gangsters have long colluded to use Rydius and the mayor's plan to create a real kidnapping. Rydius hurriedly uses magic to create a wall to stop them. The servant offers to give Rydius 100 gold coins to retreat, which is more than the tuition that Rydius would teach 10 people. But Rydius refuses, and he first throws a fireball into the sky, catching Ghislaine's attention. He then uses his magic to conjure up a bunch of stone drills to attack the enemies. Rudius' magic reeks the bald man hard and snatches Eris. Another gangster tries to come after, but his feet are controlled by Rudius' magic and he can only throw his sword at Rudius in anger. Ghislaine arrives in time to destroy the sword when Rudius is about to be hit by it. She passes through the gangsters at great speed, and they instantly turn into pieces. This is the first time Rudius has seen a murderous scene, and he realizes that the world is crueler than he ever imagined. When Eris returns home, she comes back to her former arrogant look. Fortunately, she recognizes Rudius and allows him to become her teacher. Rudius' first job isn't easy. Eris is a kid who hates studying and is only interested in Ghislaine's swordsmanship. When Rudius tutors her, she tries various methods to escape. Once, Rudius finds Eris in the stable who has skipped class and is asleep on a haystack. He suddenly has a bad idea and puts his hand into her skirt. This action wakes Eris up and causes Rudius to be beaten. I think he deserves it. In his dull work, Rudius's only entertainment is to make statues of relatives and friends to ease his homesickness. Once, while wandering, he notices someone selling an item that can stimulate desire, and secretly purchases it, intending to use it on Eris. It's a pity that he accidentally breaks the item as soon as he gets back home, and Ghislaine is well informed and sees through Rudius's intention. The innocent Eris is piqued by curiosity and threatens Rudius to confess, but he doesn't dare to say anything. The fuss is passing by time, and Eris is about to celebrate her 10-year-old birthday. Rudius is asked to instruct her in dancing. Eris's dancing skill is so bad that it drives Rudius crazy. Rudius feels that he should prepare a birthday present for Eris, and to earn some money, he sells Roxy's statue. Soon after, Rudius receives a letter from Roxy and a book. Roxy is teaching magic to a prince who, like Rudius, is lecherous and harasses her often. The prince recently has purchased a statue of her, which is precisely carved out of the details of her body. Roxy writes in the letter that she has never encountered anything so bizarre. Rudius realizes that it is a statue he has made. Lamenting the coincidence of fate, Rudius then flips through the book Roxy has given him. The book contains all kinds of strange knowledge, including the language of the demon clan. Rudius learns the language out of curiosity, although he doesn't know when he will be able to use it. On Eris's birthday, her family holds a grand banquet. A noble boy offers to invite her to a dance. Unfortunately, she dances so badly that she is mocked by onlookers. At this time, Rudius takes Eris's hand. He has previously taught Eris to dance, and he knows best what kind of beat is suitable for her and what movements will not embarrass her. They cooperate to complete a wonderful dance that wins everyone's applause. Eris smiles brightly. In the evening, Rudius gives a wand to Eris and Ghislaine respectively, because he has also taught Ghislaine to learn magic. They are so happy that Eris shows her gratitude for the first time. In the blink of an eye, Rudius has been here for 3 years. During this time, he notices 2 interesting pieces of information. One is that a suspicious red sphere appears in the sky, but no one knows what it is and nobody bothers to pay attention to it. The second is that Paul was the heir of the family and he left the family for his freedom. Because of Rudius' noble bloodline, Eris's family often looks for opportunities to woo him. On Rudius's 10th birthday, Eris's family carefully prepares a birthday party for him, and the present is an expensive magic wand. He pretends to shed tears and thanks them. Eris's mother hugs him and offers to marry Eris to him. Eris doesn't know that the family is wooing Rudius, and protests with a blushing face. After the banquet, only the mayor and Rudius remain in the hall. The mayor tells Rudius that he comes from a big family and unfortunately he cannot be granted the status of the heir. He wants Rudius to marry Eris, and he wants to use Paul's family to become the head of the family. Rudius doesn't want to get involved in the power struggle of the big family and pretends to hear nothing. But there are things that people can't run away from. Rudius sees Eris sitting on his bed in his pajamas when he returns to his room. He comes around that it is arranged by the mayor, and he tries to stay calm but is quickly defeated by desire. When he is about to take the final steps, Eris shyly breaks free. She says it is too soon to do the last step and that Rudius should wait at least 5 more years, and flees the room. Rudius realizes that he has just lost his mind, but he is glad that Eris rejects him. Meanwhile, weird things are happening everywhere. Monsters frequently invade the human world, and the demon race seems to intend to invade the continent where humans are located. When Rudius takes Eris and Ghislaine outdoors to test his wand, some black swirls appear in the sky. At this time, a man with a mask suddenly shows up and attacks them, claiming to be the messenger of the hero. He thinks that the strange celestial phenomena is caused by Rudius, but in fact, Rudius has not yet cast magic. The masked man suddenly senses that incoming danger and rushes away. Then, the red spheres and vortexes in the sky turn into a blue pillar of light. It seems like the apocalypse. When Rydius regains consciousness, he changes back to his previous life, which is his soul. A white god comes to Rydius. The god has always been interested in Rydius, kindly telling Rydius that when he wakes up, he will meet a man and that Rydius must trust and help the man. Rydius hates himself for the way he is and wants to leave right away. The god readily agrees. Rydius opens his eyes and finds that he is in a strange place. He sees only Eris and a man with green hair and ruby on his head. Despite Rydius' fears, he chooses to believe in God and tries to communicate with the men in the language of the demons. The green-haired man, named Richard, claims to be the one who saves Rydius and Eris, and he speaks human language. That's when Eris wakes up to see Richard, screaming and crying in horror. Richard laments that this is the reaction of a child, and he is surprised that Rydius is so calm. Reassured by Rydius, Eris is no longer so wary of Richard, but she still can't help but shiver. Richard takes them to the village of the demon clan, where a group of purple-haired demons lives, and Roxy is from this village. The demons are wary of Rydius and Eris until they see that Rydius has an amulet given to him by Roxy and take them in. It is here that Rydius learns about Richard's story. Richard belongs to a race with a strong sense of honor. 400 years ago, the demon god transferred the curse he suffered to them by giving them some spears. Spears with curses made them lose their minds and went around killing and even killing their families. At that time, Richard's son sacrificed his soul to awaken Richard. For 400 years Richard helped the weak everywhere in order to change the reputation of his race. Rydius thinks of Richard living 400 years of exclusion and sympathizes with Richard. After a short break, Richard takes Rydius and Eris to the human continent. On the way, they pass a city of orcs. Rydius dyes Richard's hair blue to prevent Richard's identity from being exposed. They sign up as adventurers in order to earn the money for the journey. Other adventurers see that they are not famous adventurers, mocking them for being only worthy of the task of finding kittens, which can only make very little money. This statement is indeed true. As new adventurers, they can only take on some simple tasks. Rydius takes his companions to a hotel to rest. Tired, he quickly enters a dream, and once again meets the white god. The god guides him on a mission to find the kitten, which is puzzling to him. He wakes up in the confusion and looks for the kitten with his companions. The ruby on Richard's head is equivalent to his third eye, which senses the breath of living things, and he takes Rydius and Eris to a cave where many predator pets are held. Only then do they realize that the kitten in the commission turns out to be a panther. Later, Richard ties up the orcs who are guarding the beasts. Rydius asks them for information but is kicked away by a red orc. Little does he expect that Richard will kill the red orc for this, on the grounds that he will not tolerate any crime and will not allow anyone to harm the child. During later interrogation, Rydius and others learn that they are adventurers who complete their commission by stealing pets. Richard intends to kill them, much to the anger of Rydius and Eris. They believe that Richard's random killing will make the reputation of Richard's race worse. Richard calls off in silence. Immediately after, Rydius makes a deal with these adventurers. After that, these adventurers will give him some dangerous tasks that they dare not perform. Meanwhile, Roxy travels to Rydius' hometown and anxiously searches the list of victims. She notices that Paul has left a commission to search for his family, and it turns out that Paul and his family have been separated. At this time, Rydius' team receives a commission to come to a gloomy forest. Strangely, 3 teams receive this commission. Richard notices that a nearby team is surrounded by a giant python and a large spider. He is about to save them but is stopped by Rydius. Rydius believes that they will gain other adventurers' gratitude if they help them when they are in the most dangerous situation, and he can use magic to heal them. Unexpectedly, a moment later, a birdman is killed, and Rydius is stunned. Richard and Eris rush to join the fight, killing the monsters. Richard yells furiously at Rydius, unable to accept that an adventurer who has a chance to survive dies because of Rydius' scheming. The companion of the birdman cries and says that when they become adventurers, they have long been determined to face death. She believes that the cause of Birdman's death is that they miscalculate the difficulty of the task. Rydius feels extremely guilty and escorts the birdman's companions out of the forest. When Rydius and his companions return to the forest, they meet the target of the commission, a huge red snake. It has a pigman in its mouth. This time, Rydius does not hesitate and immediately launches an attack on the red snake, forcing it to spit out the pigman. Eris waits for the opportunity to approach the red snake and slashes at its body. Red Snake sees that Rydius is a magician who is not good at fighting and rushes toward him, only to be caught by Richard. Eris takes the opportunity to slash at the red snake with all her might, cutting off its body. In the end, Rydius blasts the red snake with magic and the fight is over. Unfortunately, the injured pigman is dead. They sadly return to the city and a horseman stops them. He abuses a female adventurer who works with Rydius and asks about their deal with Rydius. He threatens Rydius to hand over half of the honorarium or the Adventurers Guild will disqualify Rydius' team as adventurers. Just as Rudius is about to use magic to punish the horseman, Richard washes the dye off his hair with water. Everyone notices his green hair and runs away in terror. Richard puts his hands around the horseman's neck and orders him not to tell their secrets. The horseman has lost the courage to threaten them and faints in fright. Their dispute catches the attention of the army, and Richard sees the army arriving and quickly flees. At this time, Rudius notices that even the Birdman's companions are afraid of Richard and asks in confusion why they are afraid of their rescuers. This statement makes the Birdman's companions feel ashamed. Later, Rudius and Eris find Richard in the suburbs. Richard says that a true warrior should not kill at will, but fight for those who he wants to protect. He will continue to protect them and restrain himself. He shaves his hair and covers the ruby with a headband so that people will not fear him. After that, the three of them continue on the adventure. They will encounter more difficulties in the future, but I believe that they will also continue to grow in difficulties. Here comes the end of the first season. In this season, the one who impressed me the most is Richard. He has killed many innocent people, though it was not his intention. Later, he went around helping the weak in order to atone for his sins, but often overly punished the abuser. Isn't he resembling people in reality who made mistakes but promised to make a change? Do you think they will be able to get on the right track in our tolerance? Leave your thoughts in the comment area and let's discuss it. Also, the second season of this anime will be aired soon, and I will make a recap video of it as well. I hope you will enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.